Long Island medium Theresa Caputo has been subjected to a humiliating blow. Her ex-husband Larry Caputo has ordered her out of his home. Now that Larry has legal power, he takes the opportunity to take revenge on Theresa. Theresa Caputo, once the celebrated Long Island medium, had always relied on her intuition to guide her through life's ups and downs. But nothing could have prepared her for the blow she received when her ex-husband, Larry Caputo, suddenly ordered her to leave the house they once called home. It started with a letter, cold, formal, and unexpected. Larry, who had recently gained legal ownership of the property after a quiet court battle, now had full control. The man who once stood by her side during her rise to fame was now using the law to erase her from his world. "You've got 72 hours to vacate," the letter read. Theresa was stunned. She had always thought they maintained a fragile peace after their divorce, a silent respect for the years they shared. But something had shifted in Larry, and deep down, Theresa felt it wasn't just bitterness, it was personal. Determined to find answers, Theresa reached out to her spirit guides. Sitting in her familiar meditation chair, she closed her eyes and opened herself to the energy around her. What came through shocked her, a whisper, a warning. This is not just revenge. Something darker is at play. Theresa's spiritual abilities had shown her many things over the years: lost loved ones, unresolved guilt, unspoken words, but never had they warned her about someone she knew so well. Larry, meanwhile, was unraveling. After years in Theresa's shadow, he had grown bitter and resentful. Watching her on television, adored by millions, while he faded into the background, had eaten away at him. Now, with control over the home, he sought more than revenge. He sought validation. But the house had its own memory. The spirits Theresa had once helped now lingered, watching, waiting, and they didn't take sides. On Theresa's final night in the house, as she packed the last of her things, the lights flickered. A cold wind swept through the hallway. A photo of her and Larry, once proudly displayed, fell and shattered. The spirits were restless. Larry returned that night to find the house unnaturally quiet. Shadows moved in corners. Whispers echoed in empty rooms. His revenge had come at a price. Theresa, far away now, lit a candle and whispered a prayer. May the truth rise, and may peace return to the living and the dead. The story of Theresa and Larry Caputo wasn't just one of heartbreak and revenge. It became a cautionary tale of love lost, spirits unsettled, and the haunting truth that some bonds, seen or unseen, never truly break. However, it was a rainy October afternoon when Lily first walked into the town hall of East Meadow, Long Island. She wasn't sure why she was there. She didn't believe in psychics. Ghosts, maybe, but mediums talking to the dead? That felt a little too dramatic, something people did to cope with grief. Still, when her best friend insisted she go see Theresa Caputo, the famous Long Island medium, who was doing a small group reading in the town that weekend, Lily decided, why not? She had lost her brother, Max, in a motorcycle accident 2 years ago. Not a day passed when she didn't think about him. The room was warm, softly lit, filled with folding chairs and murmuring locals. Theresa walked in, blonde hair and all, radiant but grounded. She greeted everyone with her signature humor and a wide, knowing smile. "I'm not here to scare ya," she said, "but spirit doesn't wait." Lily crossed her arms and listened skeptically. About 20 minutes into the session, Theresa suddenly stopped mid-sentence. Her eyes narrowed, her head tilted. "There's a young man stepping forward," she said. "Late 20s, sudden passing. He's showing me something fast. A vehicle, a motorcycle." Lily's heart skipped a beat. He's pointing to a tattoo on someone's wrist. Theresa turned. "You, the girl in the gray sweater." Lily blinked. She wore that sweater almost every day. On her wrist, in tiny script, was Max's last text to her: "Be safe, love you." Theresa didn't wait for Lily to speak. "He says he never blamed you for not answering his call that night. He says you were asleep. He wants you to stop carrying that guilt." Lily gasped. She had never told anyone, not even her therapist, that she'd missed a late-night call from Max just hours before he died. Her vision blurred with tears. Theresa kept going. "He says he loves the song you play on your piano. The one you started playing after he passed." "What's that? Hallelujah?" "That was the one song he always wanted to learn." Lily could barely breathe. Max had always joked about learning to play Hallelujah on guitar, but never got around to it. After his funeral, Lily started playing it every night. She thought it helped her sleep. She had no idea something, had been listening. Then Theresa smiled, her eyes softer now. "He says he stands in the corner of your room every night you play it. Not to scare you, just to let you know, he's still with you." A silence settled over the room. No one moved. Lily was sobbing quietly, but this time the tears weren't just grief. They were release. Later that night, back home, Lily sat at her piano. She placed her fingers on the keys, letting the notes of Hallelujah drift into the room like smoke. For the first time in years, the music didn't just echo off the walls. However, the lights of the WCL studio dimmed slightly as the applause faded. Theresa Caputo stepped forward in her signature stilettos, her long blonde hair teased high, her energy palpable. "Okay," she said, scanning the crowd. "Spirit's already starting to come through." The audience leaned in, anticipation thick in the air. I'm being shown a man with a heavy chest, like he passed from a heart issue. He keeps showing me an old army uniform and something about Chicago. Anyone relate to that? A woman in the second row gasped and raised her hand, trembling slightly. "My father, he was in the army, and he died of a heart attack. We're from Chicago." Theresa nodded slowly. "He's got a big personality. Like loud, funny, always telling jokes, yes." Tears welled in the woman's eyes. "That's him. That's exactly him. He's saying, 'You kept my dog tags. You still have them in your nightstand, right?'" The woman broke down. "I wear them sometimes when I miss him." A soft murmur moved through the crowd. Theresa closed her eyes. "He's proud of you. But he's also mentioning a box you never opened, like something he left behind." The woman's face changed. "There was a box in the attic. We never opened it. We thought it was just old stuff." "Open it," Theresa said simply. "He says there's something inside you need to see." But just as the energy seemed to settle, Theresa turned her head sharply toward the balcony section. "Okay, someone really loud is coming through now, and I'm getting chills. Who lost a younger woman, maybe in her 20s, very sudden." A tall man in the balcony stood up slowly. "My sister. She died in a car accident 2 years ago." Theresa's voice softened. "She's showing me a silver bracelet. She says you wear it every day. She wants you to know it's not your fault." The man covered his mouth, trying not to cry. "I gave her the keys. She went out to get my medicine. I always blamed myself. She said she chose to go. She wanted to help you. She's okay now, and she's showing me a sunflower. Does that mean something to you?" "It was her favorite flower," he said in a whisper. The room felt still, heavy, sacred. Theresa paused, then tilted her head. "There's also an older woman here, grandmother figure, who keeps shouting, 'Tell her I'm still stirring the sauce.'" Laughter erupted from the front row, where an Italian family sat huddled together. "That's Nonna," a middle-aged woman said. "She always said that when we cooked together." Theresa smiled. "She wants you to stop buying the store sauce. She says it's an insult." As the readings continued, spirit after spirit stepped forward, bringing closure, peace, laughter, and tears. Each message stitched invisible threads between the living and the beyond, reminding everyone in the room of one truth: love never dies. As the session drew to a close, Theresa turned to the camera. "I don't know how it works. I just know that it does, and I hope tonight someone here felt just a little less alone." Applause thundered through the studio as Theresa waved, spirit still swirling in the air, whispering secrets only the heart can truly understand. However, it was a chilly October evening in Long Island. The wind whistled through the amber leaves, scattering them like whispers across the pavement. Inside a warmly lit living room, Theresa Caputo, the infamous Long Island medium, adjusted her signature high blonde hair and sipped her tea as she waited for her newest appointment. She wasn't expecting anyone famous that evening. Her assistant had simply said, "It's a private booking. Big name, super skeptical mom." That was all the information Theresa had. At exactly 7:00 p.m., the doorbell rang. Theresa opened it and immediately recognized the poised figure standing in front of her, Olivia Munn, the Hollywood actress known for her sharp wit and striking roles. "Hi, I'm Olivia," she said, smiling nervously. Behind her stood a stern-looking older woman, arms crossed, face tight with skepticism. However, Theresa Caputo sat in her signature leopard print chair, a warm cup of coffee in hand, as the bright red on-air light blinked to life. It was just another morning on air with Ryan Seacrest, or so it seemed. Ryan's familiar voice crackled through the line. "Ladies and gentlemen, joining us live from Long Island, it's the one and only Long Island medium, Theresa Caputo. And Theresa, I hear you're going to try something you've never done before, channeling a spirit, over the phone." Theresa laughed in her classic big-haired, no-nonsense way. "You know me, Ryan. Spirit doesn't care about phone lines or time zones. If they got something to say, they'll find a way." The radio lines lit up. "All right," Ryan said. "We've got a caller named Emily from Sacramento. Emily, you're on with Theresa." The line went silent for a moment. Then a nervous voice broke through. "Hi, Theresa. I've been having these dreams. About my brother. He died 5 years ago. His name was Lucas. I never got to say goodbye." Theresa closed her eyes. She could already feel the shift, the familiar pressure on her chest, the goosebumps rising on her arms. "Emily," she said softly, "I need to ask, did Lucas pass unexpectedly, something involving water?" A sharp breath from Emily. "Yes, a boating accident." Theresa nodded slowly. "He's been with you, especially when you sleep. That's why you feel like he's there. It's not just dreams. He keeps showing me a green flannel shirt. Do you have it?" Emily's voice broke. "It was his favorite. I kept it, in a box under my bed." "Don't feel guilty you didn't say goodbye," Theresa said, her voice more serious now. "He heard you, when you whispered to him in the hospital, even if they told you he couldn't." A pause. Emily sobbed. "I needed to hear that." Then something unusual happened. Theresa's own screen flickered. The lights above her dimmed. She blinked and looked around. The spirit wasn't fading. Ryan's voice came through the headset again. "Theresa, you still with us?" "I am," she said slowly. "But Lucas isn't done." The air in her room turned cold. She felt a hand brush her shoulder, a sensation she hadn't experienced during a remote reading before. "He tell Mom not to sell the lake house." Emily gasped. "She's been planning to. We used to go there every summer. He says that's where you'll feel him the most. He's asking you to go there this summer. He'll be waiting." The line crackled. A voice, not Theresa's, whispered faintly through the static. "I love you, Em." Emily screamed and dropped the phone. Ryan was speechless. Theresa sat still, her heart racing. This wasn't just a reading. It was something more. A connection so powerful it broke the rules of space, of radio waves, of reason. As the call ended and the show moved on, Ryan said shakily, "Well, folks, I don't know what just happened. But if you didn't believe in the spirit world before, you just might now." Later that night, as Theresa turned off the lights in her house, she paused by the window. The stars above Long Island twinkled quietly. However, it was a brisk autumn morning in Long Island when Rosie O'Donnell stepped out of her black SUV, sunglasses on, hair pulled back, and a mix of skepticism and curiosity on her face. The scent of fresh bagels and fallen leaves filled the air as she approached a modest but charming suburban house. Inside waited the one and only Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, hair teased high and energy vibrating like a live wire. Rosie had agreed to this reading almost on a dare, from a friend who swore that Theresa had connected her with her late grandmother in ways no one else could. Rosie, the comic, the skeptic, the realist, didn't believe in that ghost stuff. But deep down, a part of her wondered, what if? Theresa welcomed her with open arms. "Rosie, you look fabulous, darling. Spirit's been knocking all morning. I knew you were bringing energy with you." Rosie smirked, her usual wall of sarcasm ready to deflect. "Let's see what the dead have to say about my outfit." Theresa smiled knowingly, then sat across from her, eyes half-lidded as she began tapping into the energy around them. "Okay, so I'm getting a strong male presence. Feels like a father figure. He's showing me a uniform, military, police." Rosie blinked. Her father had been a Korean War vet. That wasn't common public knowledge. "He says he's proud of the strength you showed, especially when you were just a kid. He says you always tried to make people laugh when things were hard. He liked that about you." Rosie swallowed, her defenses flickering. Theresa continued, "He keeps talking about the green bike. He says you cried when it got stolen." Rosie gasped. "No one knows about that bike. It was my favorite, bright green with tassels. It was stolen from our yard when I was 10. He says he tried to fix it once, but he messed up the chain and you yelled at him," Theresa added, grinning. Rosie chuckled through glassy eyes. "I did. I remember. I was such a brat." Theresa paused, growing quiet. "There's also a woman here, much younger. A friend, maybe?" She passed suddenly. "Feels like an illness. Quick, aggressive. She says she always admired your strength. You helped her laugh, even when she was afraid." Rosie's jaw tightened. "Dana," she whispered. "She had breast cancer. She was only 38. She wants you to know she's okay. She's showing me sunflowers and saying, 'Tell Ro I'm planning joy for her up here.'" Rosie sat silently, tears streaming now, wiping them with the sleeve of her sweater. Theresa reached over and squeezed her hand. "It's real, Rosie. You're loved. They're always with you." The reading ended an hour later. Rosie left Theresa's house in awe, not quite ready to admit what she believed, but deeply moved. That night, on her podcast, she told her listeners, "I don't know what just happened today, but if you ever meet Theresa Caputo, listen, just listen." Hello lovely viewers, welcome to my channel. I am Mina, hope your day is so well. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel. "This is my mother, Kim," Olivia added. "She doesn't believe in any of this." Kim Munn gave a curt nod. "I'm here for my daughter's sake. She's convinced something needs to be said." Theresa grinned. She loved a challenge. They settled into the cozy sitting room, candles flickering gently. Theresa closed her eyes for a moment, as if listening to an invisible radio. "I keep hearing a man's voice, strong but gentle. He's saying, 'Tiger Lily, does that mean anything to you?'" Kim blinked. "Tiger Lily was the name my husband called me when we were young, but nobody knows that." Theresa didn't open her eyes. "He's showing me a red bike. Says you still keep it in the garage, even though the tires are flat." Kim's jaw tensed. Olivia leaned forward, her eyes wide. "Your husband's telling me," Theresa continued, "he never got to say goodbye properly. That he passed in the hospital and you weren't there. He says, 'Don't carry that guilt. I heard everything you said, even after the machine stopped.'" A silence fell over the room like a thick fog. Kim's eyes glistened, but she didn't speak. Then Theresa added, "He's holding a letter, something hidden in a book? A red-covered one?" Kim finally whispered, "After he died, I found a letter tucked inside his old Hemingway novel. I never told anyone." Theresa opened her eyes. "He wants you to know he left that for you. On purpose. He knew you'd find it when you were ready." Kim's composure cracked. Tears spilled down her cheeks as Olivia held her hand. I thought mediums were all fake, Kim murmured. But that was real. Theresa smiled warmly. Sometimes the dead just want to help the living find peace. That's all I do. As they left, Kim paused at the door. She turned to Theresa and said, "Thank you. You helped me believe again, in love, in memory, and maybe, in something more."